Hello and welcome into the first edition of 2019 of the NASCAR K&N Pro Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from R&N. On today's K&N Rewind, we are looking back at the season opener for 2019 for the K&N Pro Series East. The new Smyrna 175 from the new Smyrna Speedway, running about 24 hours late. It was supposed to be Sunday night, got pushed into Monday night because of rain. Qualifying was rained out as well. They only got one practice session in on Sunday, and that's how they set the starting lineup. Hailie Deegan set the fast lap in the first practice session in her Bill McAnally Racing Toyota. So she started from the pole in this race, led the first 6 laps, and then was overtaken by Chase Cabra, who actually had a really fast car in the early portions of the race. He and Drew Dollar swapped the lead for the first about 50 laps or so. And then Colin Garrett got up there and led 64 laps. He was very strong through the middle portions of the race. Ty Gibbs took the lead for 4 laps late in the race, and then as he and Colin Garrett battled side by side for the lead, Derek Kraus snuck through on lap 136 and took the lead. Caution flags in this race. There were a total of 7 cautions in this race. The first one came at lap 18 as the 87 of Chuck Buchanan Jr. spun in turn 3 after contact with Mason Diaz. There were 2 breaks in this race. First one came at lap 64. Lap 123, which turned into the second brake caution as well. The 99 of Brittany Zamora spun in turn number 2. She did not have a great night in her first K&N Pro Series start, but a good learning experience nonetheless, if nothing else, for Brittany Zamora. Lap 128, shortly after coming back from that second break, the other female in the race, Hailie Deegan, her troubles continued. She dropped way back in the field after leading those first 6 laps. In fact, I believe dropped all the way to 16th or 17th at one point, just barely above last place in the field. There were only 19 cars in this race. It looked to be a tire-saving effort because the teams were not allowed to change tires at any point in this race. So everyone seemed to think that this was just a tire-saving measure, that she was saving her tires for later in the race and letting everybody else run their tires off. That turned out not to be the case. It seemed that she had an alternator issue, and they were replacing that under the second brake, but that didn't seem to solve the problem. As we took the green flag out of this break, she stalls in 3 and 4. And I don't believe got it refired. That was the end of the night for Hailie Deegan. Very uneventful night. It started off so promising, so fast in practice, starting from the pole. Was not meant to be for Hailie Deegan in the new Smyrna 175. Lap 139, caution comes out for the 6th time as the 15 of Tanner Gray spun in turn number 2. He had such a good night going, in the top 10 most of the night, top 5 a lot of the night as well. In his first stock car start, Tanner Gray has a long pedigree in the NHRA drag racing, actually the Pro Stock champion from 2018, moving over into the stock car ranks. Had a great night going in his first stock car race, but unfortunately the finish was just not quite there for Tanner Gray. Final caution of the night came at lap 158, just under 20 laps from the end of the race, as the 99 of Brittany Zamora spun again in turn number 3, and that would be the end of her night as she would make contact with the wall, crumpled up the nose a little bit, and that would be the end of the night for her. Alright, so let's get into your results from the new Smyrna 175. We mentioned Derek Kraus took the lead on lap 136, and he did not look back from that point, even after his teammate Zamora spun there on lap 158 to bring out the caution. He held the lead and ran away with it. Derek Kraus picks up the victory, his first of 2019 in the K&N Pro Series. led a total of 40 laps in this race on his way to the victory, and they were the final 40 laps of the race. Ty Gibbs came home with a very strong second-place finish in his first K&N Pro Series start. We're going to see him in both K&N Pro Series and ARCA races this season, as he'll be splitting time in the 18 car in the ARCA Racing Series for Joe Gibbs Racing with Riley Herbst. So we will see him on the ARCA side as well. And if this is any indication, I think we can expect some really good runs out of him in the ARCA Racing Series as well as the K&N Pro Series. Brandon McReynolds came on strong at the end for a solid third-place finish. Sam Meyer had a great night, came home in the 4th position. Fast car all night long. Didn't have much at the end for Derek Kraus, but definitely was a fast car nonetheless in that GMS Racing number 21. And Anthony Sergey rounded out the top 5. Rest of your top 10, Colin Garrett in that Sam Hunt Racing number 18 had a fast car, led 64 laps on the night, but faded to 6th at the end of the race. Spencer Davis came home in the 7th position in the 82 car for Rhett Jones Racing. Ruben Garcia Jr., we talked to him Sunday afternoon when we were hopefully trying to get the race in. Did not happen, but we did talk to him prior to the race, and we were planning on talking to a lot of other drivers, and the rain hit, and that screwed up those plans. But Ruben did pick up his strongest finish yet at New Smyrna Speedway with a solid 8th place finish. Drew Dollar up front a lot of the night, led a total of 48 laps. That's the second highest total of anybody in this race. Faded late as well, came home in the 9th position. Connor Hall in the 31 car for Marsh Racing rounded out the top 10. We saw him at Daytona in the ARCA race the day before this race was supposed to run. We saw him on Saturday in the ARCA race running for Chad Bryant Racing. Final page results, 11th through 19th. Max McLaughlin in that one car for Hattori Racing, the same team that Brett Moffitt won the truck championship with last year. They are now fielding a full-time K&N Pro Series East effort with Max McLaughlin. He came home in the 11th position. Tanner Gray landed in the 12th position after fading late as well. Brittany Zamora, after her incident late, her couple of incidents on the night, the second one would be the end of her night at lap 156. She ended up in 15th. Haley Deegan, with her electrical issues, made 127 laps in this race. She ended up in 16th. And Chase Cabra only made 77 laps in this race after having issues in the rear end of the car at lap 77. 17th on the night for Chase Cabra. Not a great way to start his full season effort, looking for a championship in the K&N Pro Series. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the point standings here, as we weren't quite able to get an interview lined up with Derek Kraus to talk about this when he is still down in New Smyrna, actually running races today. Everything that's happening all week with the World Series of Racing there at New Smyrna Speedway. He's still hanging out, running a bunch of races down there, so we weren't quite able to get anything lined up there, as he is focused on that today, and we didn't want to bother him with that. So I'm sure this won't be the only win Derek Kraus picks up this year in the K&N Pro Series. We'll get other chances to talk to him and have him on here on the K&N Rewind show. But let's go ahead and look at the point standings. Derek Kraus does lead the K&N East Pro standings here, but that obviously won't last, as he is full-time in the K&N West Series, not the East Series. He will run more K&N East races throughout the season, but is not full-time in the series. So that is not indicative of who is really a championship contender at this point. It's like looking at the ARCA points right now. Most of the cars in the Daytona race were not full-time drivers, so the point standings really don't mean a whole lot at this point. Brandon McReynolds sits in the second position right now with a total of 41 points. There's a name you are noticing is not there right now. I guarantee it, because he finished second in this race and he is not there. It is Ty Gibbs. He currently sits 19th out of 19 in the K&N Pro Series East standings with negative 57 points. That is because of the DGR Crosley penalty that was assessed back in January for NASCAR alleging that they broke the ban on testing in the off-season. And part of the ramifications of that was Ty Gibbs was docked 100 points. So because this was preseason, he didn't have any points to begin with. So he started the season in the K&N Pro Series East at negative 100 points. So the 43 points that he gained on Monday night just kind of got him closer to zero. He's currently at negative 57, 104 points behind Derek Kraus. So definitely a big hole to dig out of for Ty Gibbs. But I don't believe he is running the full season, so it really, I don't think, makes a whole lot of difference here. Sam Meyer currently sits in the third position with 40 points, 1 point there behind Brandon McReynolds, 7 back from Derek Kraus. Colin Garrett, Anthony Sergey there in the top 5. Spencer Davis, Ruben Garcia, Drew Dollar, Connor Hall, and Max McLaughlin all in the top 10 as well. That's your point standings, though, for the K&N Pro Series East following the first round of the 2019 season for the K&N East Series. And I believe that will do it for us on this first edition of 2019 of the K&N Pro Series Rewind Show. We will be back on, February 29th, I believe it is, for the K&N West season opener. February 28th. It's not 29th. This isn't a leap year. As they start off the season at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway Bull Ring on February 28th, the dirt track there. They've moved that up to the first race of the season in conjunction with the Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup Series, their spring weekend at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So 4 races at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, 1 on the dirt track, 3 on the oval, coming up on the first weekend of March, and then, of course, the dirt race the last day of February, but the same weekend. So that'll be our next K&N Pro Series Rewind show coming up here in, a couple weeks from now, not too long out, and that will continue the K&N Pro Series Rewind show for this season. We'll get the K&N West Series started. But that'll do it for tonight, so if you haven't done it already, why don't you go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from R&N. While you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video. It is much appreciated when you do that, and it helps us out so much when you do that, and it helps us grow so much. We grew so much this past weekend, exposed so many people to racing news now with our coverage from Daytona and New Smyrna, and will continue to do that going forward, trying to get the most coverage possible out to you of all of these races. So we hope you enjoy it, and we hope you continue to enjoy it into the future. But at that, this has been the NASCAR K&N Pro Series Rewind show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.